Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, you can join us in the Freedom Zone, and we're going in there today, and you're going to want to see what we have for you. Listen, there's a great conversation and great people inside of there. I tell you, you could join us for next to nothing. Just click the join button under any title or join us in the description box at Patreon, however you like to do it. Same price, same perks, and it costs next to nothing to help support the channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. You'll want to be in there today. Right now, $3.1 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 2.7%, 96,200 plus for Bitcoin. 1,800 plus for Ethereum. XRP, $2.20 at the number 4 spot. We're off 0.8 on the 24-hour, but we're up 0.1 on the 7-day. Here we see we're ranging between 219 and 224. We'll keep an eye on it. I do want to let you know, however, the XRP Las Vegas new agenda is out. Now, we released one last week, but we have some updates and some changes that had to happen. Go check out this agenda. And by the way, get your tickets before they're gone. The VIP tickets are dangerously close to selling out. So get your tickets before they're gone. And I will say there's a lot of other satellite events happening around this 2 days conference. So make sure you check it out. I know Crypto Life down here says he's been the past 2 years. Epic thrown by my brother Brad Kimes. Dig Perspectives, first class all the way. Appreciate you, James. And I know James and CKJ are doing like a satellite event. I know First Ledger and Sigma are doing a satellite event, and there may be some other things happening around at the same time. I can't keep track of it all, but I think it's just really beautiful the way everybody's like, this thing's turning into something. It's even more than a conference. So I'm hugely excited about the growth of it and the conference. So get your ticket; you won't be sorry. And I tell you, get your open your free account at xrpwealth589.com. Let me tell you, I don't know how else to say this. And I know some of you are like, how long is he going to keep talking about this? Until you get the same great night's sleep that I'm getting now. Because that's what I've gotten. The best night's sleep since I've opened my account at Caleb and Brown. Why is that? I get institutional grade custody at no cost. There's no hidden fees, no hidden spreads. And I'll tell you something else. Human customer service. Whether you're having a technical issue with your account or whether you want to speak to a prime broker, call them, email them, however you need to do it, and you'll be talking to a human being, which is absolutely impossible on any other exchange at this point. This is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. They're cutting edge. They're bringing the traditional level customer service to the crypto sector. And you know what happens during bull cycles. These bull cycles blow up, and then what goes on? I can tell you what goes on. The exchanges freeze up. But if you have a human representative, you can get around all of that. This is why I'm saying I'm getting the best night's sleep I've had in 8 years now. So super excited about that. And I want to tell you about one more thing. And the one more thing is, it's GulfOfAmericaXRP.com. When things do moon and you have access to your assets because you were smart and opened your account at Caleb and Brown, you'll be able to get your funds right away and go buy that beautiful property on the beach down in the Destin area, the GulfOfAmericaXRP.com. Let me tell you something. All you have to do is sign up with the link underneath this video and listen. You will get the phone number. You can call and text Daniel and talk to him right away about securing your beautiful spot on the most beautiful beaches in the continental United States of America. It's GulfAmericaXRP.com. I'm rolling my money and my gains into hard assets, and this is one of the places I'm going to be. So when you get there, let me know. I don't mind telling you very quickly, too, no income tax in Florida. And think about it. If you're in California, the kind of property you pay for in California versus the kind of property you're going to get when you get to Florida. Listen, it's a no-brainer. The value is there. I'm telling you, make sure you get that number and you text or call Daniel once you get to the website, golfofamericaxrp.com. Go sign up today. Let's get into this. Listen, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs vetoes the state strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay, so on the state to state level, there's been some wins and then there's been some losses. And in Arizona, the governor says not having it. Said basically Arizonians' retirement funds are not the place for the state to try untested investments like virtual currency. Whoa, pretty strong language there. So we'll see what happens. Again, remember, I think the federal level is going to unlock a lot of these states once they take a position, should they? And it looks like they're going to. So now Axelar Network's going to be on stage at XRP Las Vegas. Get your ticket. Listen, Axelar Bitcoin swaps on, and it says check. It says all in Bitcoin, swap native Bitcoin to any Ethereum virtual machine chain live right now. This is what's happening, bringing all of these siloed islands together. Remember the early days of the internet? We saw this happen too. You had the Netscapes and Net Zero and all these siloed islands that couldn't talk to one another. Well, that is being bridged currently right now in the digital asset space. And here is Stuart Aldirty here, and I think that's the proper way to say his name. He says it perfectly, obviously, and I'm trying to learn it the way it's supposed to be said. But shout out to him for these incredible comments pointing out where we are in this moment right now. Listen.
I feel good. I condensed 6 years of my life into 60 seconds.
That's right.
Hi, this is Stu Alderity, and this is Crypto in a Minute. So why did the SEC drop its appeal against Ripple? I think the real question is, why did they bring the case at all? The SEC has not only dropped its appeal against Ripple, they've now dropped every case against every crypto company in the United States. Wow. Why? Because the SEC has now admitted what we've always been saying, that you can't bring enforcement actions for violating the law without first explaining what the law is, and we never had clear laws, rules, and regulations regarding crypto in this country. So we're going to clean up the mess, we're going to get out of the courtroom, we're going to get back to running business, and we're going to now press forward, working with Congress to get smart crypto regulation in place that protects consumers, that protects the integrity of the market, that keeps bad actors out, and most importantly, allows the innovation to flourish.
Well done, Stuart. And listen, this is where I think, like in the early days of the court case, I'll never forget, Stuart had made a post that said, goodbye Howey test, hello Ripple test. And I think that's exactly where this is going. This court case is going to serve as a precedent, just like the Howey test has done. I really do believe that, but we're getting back to work. But here's why. I want you to listen to this. This is when Richard Nixon temporarily suspended the dollar's convertibility into gold. Make no mistake about it. This is why digital assets ended up being a thing today. Don't believe it. It's still true. Sound a lot like the moment we're in today, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Right? Well, now that we've level set that this moment in history has come full circle, there's no denying that moment is here. The U.S. Treasury Secretary calling for a grand economic reordering, a new Bretton Woods, right? Well, remember when Christine Lagarde was the IMF managing director and highlighted this?
The difference will not be between those who are disrupted and those who survive, but it will be between those who are cannibalized because they are not seeing it coming and they're not embracing it, and those who self-induce that cannibalization. And I'm using cannibalization on purpose because it's a bit of a striking, horrible word. But it's really what it means. It's you're going to disrupt your business model, you're going to change it, you're going to reduce your cost, you're going to expedite your transactions, and you're going to continue to inspire confidence because you will build that on the basis of an existing backbone, which is your bank and the confidence relationship that you've established with your customers. So that's where I see changes happening now. If you think of Circle and Ripples and all those, that's where they are active and helpful.
So there you have it. For years, Circle and Ripple have been highlighted as a solution for the financial system wholly, right? So it's pretty remarkable. And then here we are today talking about the potential of a Ripple and Circle acquisition. Now, we know that the 5 billion whatever plus minus offer was rejected. However, it has been stated that, and we've talked here, I believe the reason for the Circle IPO was what? So they could raise money to build a payments platform underneath of the token itself. They've said that. That's what they said in the last week and a half. And now they announced the IPO to raise the money to do what I believe is exactly that, because people IPO to raise funds. So if you look at that, they're too late to the dance. Now's not the time to build a payments platform. You should have had it built for 10 years, like the XRP ledger more than. So when I look at this, I say to myself, you know, and understanding that the profitability of Circle is based on the margin they make off of the collateral backed of the digital issuance. So in other words, the bonds they hold to back the digital stable coins, USDC, they make interest on those bonds. And when the Fed cuts rates, it cuts their profit margin. So we are staring down the barrel of the Fed doing possibly just that, right? In the next however many months or year or whatever. So this puts it in the court of Circle to say, you don't have tailwinds, you have headwinds going into this IPO. So this is really a better offer. So we'll see what happens here, but I don't know if I can see a way forward without Circle really kind of caving to this, and it may be a matter of price, but I think they get this done. And we know Brad Garlinghouse has said himself at the Collision conference I played yesterday or the day before, that really showed that, you know, hey, we don't need 10 different stable coins. What I believe we need is Ripple to issue the stable coin and then let everybody else white label that. That's what I think. And that's how you get Ripple to be the new Fed, right? That's just my thoughts. But nonetheless, Ripple Circle deal could unlock 60 plus billion in liquidity, because that's the market cap of Circle. And it's on 19 different payment networks as well, if you didn't know. So this would instantly put Ripple and the real USD, because I'm pretty sure Circle would convert to real USD, and then instantly put us at the front of the pack to be on more networks than Tether, which is only on 10. So according to Grok 3. So why is all of this happening? All of this is happening for one main reason in my eyes. It is to underpin the US dollar with, first to start with, private issuers of stablecoins giving a new use case to hold US Treasury bonds to ensure that we hold up the dominance of the dollar. The CEO of Stripe has even said that doing this, having private issuers of stablecoins, can work as a better mechanism than the petrodollar itself, which is what Nixon paused the convertibility to gold for, because we had Kissinger go over and make the deal for the petrodollar. Now it's exhausted and we must fix it. Now we're bringing in BlackRock and Larry Fink, CEO, to talk about the tokenization of financial assets. Well, why is this when we're talking about stablecoin and underpinning the dollar and having all these private issuers hold bonds? Because that's the first step. The next step is to drive enough liquidity onto the important protocols that will move value, like the XRP ledger and others. Because once you get the world's value and liquidity from traditional financial markets, which is where all the money is, tokenized onto things like the XRP ledger, you can then have a discussion about tightening up the private issuance of those bonds and begin to underpin the dollar with the XRP token instead. Why? Because all the liquidity has been tokenized and given a QSIP and then placed on the ledger, and that level of liquidity on the XRP ledger, represented by the value of the token, can then underpin the US dollar, and we could talk about moving forward that way instead. Take a listen.
And we believe it's so important to be anticipating the next move. I would also say on the beginnings of a ETF Bitcoin, we believe ETFs are a technology no different than Bitcoin was a technology for asset storage. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
And we know that Bitcoin isn't the one to do it. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin's bad or whatever. I think Bitcoin's being used as a financial band-aid for this monetary transition into a new digital on-chain economy. They're throwing the kitchen sink at this thing. That's what's happening. But the difference is when we get on the other side of legislation, I believe that's when the real dust will settle and everyone's going to find out what's really going on. Because Goldman Sachs plans to tokenize U.S. Treasury bonds and money market funds to enable 24/7 on-chain trading. This is exactly what Larry Fink was just talking about, getting to this place. Well, we're at this place. Goldman Sachs is doing it. Guess who else is doing it? Ripple has acquired prime broker Hidden Road, and they're going to do it to the tune of $3 trillion a year. That's just to start. And you know what I think that is? That's the biggest signal that they're also about to do it for the DTCC. Listen to Nadine Chakar right here.
It's impossible to think in the near future that 100% of our assets will get digitized. So you still need to have a balance between the old and the new. You still need to risk manage that really well. And most importantly, you can't lose track of the client experience, right? So that's why the infrastructure component is really important, and that's where we're going to double down our efforts. And I have been calling on the industry, and I hope, forgive me, because I'm going to do it again now, right? We shouldn't be competing on infrastructure. Nobody wins on infrastructure. You need scalability, you need resiliency, you need safety.
There you have it. So resign yourself to the infrastructure that the government has chosen, which I believe will be the XRP ledger. Why do I believe that? Because it's the one that has a decentralized exchange built into the layer 1 functionality, right? That's why. I also believe it too, because, don't forget about the DTC setting a new daily record of $11 trillion in settlement in one day. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that Ripple just acquired Hidden Road for $1.25 billion to settle $3 trillion a year. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with it. See, this is where the back play is. This is where the backside of this play is very important to get this right. The tokenization of the entire traditional markets. Because once that liquidity is on the network, you can then underpin that liquidity and value as a reserve as the XRP token under the US dollar. And at that point, we can really step back and say, we got the next 150 to 300 years of US dollar dominance, and our children will have better chances and opportunities than we ever did. And here we know that it goes way back with the DTCC and Ripple. In 2015, they brought on the former CEO of the DTCC, Donald Donahue, as a Ripple advisor, all the way back in 2015. This article's from 21, but that's how far ago it was, because they know that they were working on that then. And you know what? We don't need to see the patents and anything anymore with the DTCC, because they've openly told us this is what they're doing. DTCC bought Securrency, which is where Nadine Chakar come from, and you can see clearly they can utilize Ethereum, Stellar, Ripple, EOS, and other distributed ledgers, as well as on legacy systems, which makes sense because Nadine just told us they're in a transition of using the new and old system. So here's your new systems right here. This is it. It's being told to us. It got told to us right here.
And we're looking forward to being able to use it in 2024. It was fully MiCA compliant, and it also became fully transferable on the Ethereum blockchain. Since then, it will now be available on several other blockchains, including Solana, Ripple, and Stellar.
There you have it, right? So look, there's no more secrets. This is being said out loud now, right? Now it comes down to whether you're going to hear them or not. You're going to listen to what they're saying. Well, this is what I found interesting here. Look, this one just came out yesterday, and I got to be honest. I'm not saying like I'm making investment decisions based on someone having some kind of a misspeak or saying something and pulling it back. I just find it very interesting with everything else I've just shown you. What do you think she says right here?
The move to digital collateral has never been more relevant in playing a critical role in enhancing liquidity and strengthening resilience and soundness of the financial markets. It is well known that collateral is a multifaceted ecosystem with complexity growing each year. So what about the new world? Distributed ledger technologies have changed the game for settlement speed and security, reducing timing.
Oh, did you hear her say Ripple and then try to pull it back? Well, how about if you listen to Rob Cunningham's version where he slows it down a little bit? Shout out to my brother Rob.
Distributed ledger technologies have changed the game for settlement speed and security, reducing speed and security.
Listen, you know, I don't need this to know that it's Ripple because I just showed you in the literature from the DTCC that it's Ripple, right? And other chains. But the point is that that's how deep this is for me. It's like when I hear that, that's a Freudian slip right there. And I love every single bit of it. Listen, I don't pretend to know where this is going, but I'll say this much. I think Raoul Pal's got this chart right, showing you the different years where there has been an explosion in activity, okay? And this goes back to the 2011, 2012, 2014, 2016, or 2017, 2018. It goes from 2014 to 2018. That's the 2017, 2018. I was here for that and here for this, 2019, 2020, and then the 21 pop. And now here we are here, 20 to 24, and this is where we are in 25. Don't mess this up. That's how he says it. This is that banana moment, right? How far it goes is the question. But the good news is we're all here to watch it happen with our bags full. How many times does a retail investor get a chance to front run Wall Street and the entire financial legacy system? How about that? Hats off to every one of you for being here and the awareness it took for you to get here. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the freedom zone, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you're going to find out about the scams today, the things government do to try to keep their thumb on the back of mankind. We're going in right now. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives.